Don't be shy, 'cause life won't bring you down too far.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. It's gone midnight. We're in the fight camp, week 4, final week. I'm joined by Gareth A. Davies. I'm trying to think of a title to give you, but you're just Gareth A. Davies. How are you?
I'm good. It's, as you say, it's after midnight. It's been a long day. They're long days in here. It's great to be here. It's a real privilege to be invited in. I think it's an exceptional event, given it's I think there have been pay-per-views behind closed doors, but this is the first really significant pay-per-view behind closed doors, and it's. I cannot wait to sit ringside, having been around all these guys the last couple of days in here. I cannot wait to see 2 massive fights with no crowd. I mean, it's just going to be off the charts in my view. Just the breathing of Dillian and Sasha Povetkin I'm looking forward to. The thwacks of the punches that they're going to land. I mean, if it goes any distance, it's going to be so exciting. If it goes 10, 11 rounds and they have war, it's going to be amazing. And we know Pursoon and Taylor's going to be at war. Delphine Pursoon. I mean, look at the eye of the tiger she's got around here. She looks really physically strong and wiry. Katie is that normal, hyper-religious, really quiet self, and you know she's going to flick the switch. She says she's going to box. It's going to be a war. It's going to be a war within 3 rounds. I cannot wait. You've been in these fight camp fights already, and it's a rarefied atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite strange. It's you can't really tell from watching it on TV exactly what it's like, and I think it's more interesting to see how the fighters kind of adapt to it as well. I think the majority of them have said that they kind of just block it out anyway, and it's like they don't even really notice it. But I think it's quite hard for guys like Dillian Whyte, Povetkin and Taylor and these guys that are used to fighting in big crowds to lose that on fight night, how significant that's going to be.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them pass each other while I've been here either. Dillian's out the back right now, about 40 feet away from us in his Winnebago. He's got 2 Winnebagos. I mean, Winnebagos that Tyson Fury would be proud of, I'd say.
Yeah.
The kind of caravans that he would like. Yeah, I've been in. Yeah. I've been in with Dillian, did an interview with him earlier today in the Winnebago. He's stretched out there in the passenger seat. It's like, you got the passenger seat and the driver's seat, and they both turn around, and then it turns into a sitting room, doesn't it? Yeah. It's nice in there. It's like boxers on tour, isn't it?
Yeah. I wasn't convinced. Well, I say convinced. I wasn't sure how many of them. I thought that they were all going to be in there, but they're not. It's not. You can't really. You can have one person who's comfortable to have that kind of living space, maybe a push too, but the rest of his team are actually in the hotel. But
Dillian's getting the first class treatment. We saw a little private jet in Southend Airport, all of that kind of stuff from Portugal, and he's got a really good way of being relaxed in fight week now. And he's taken a massive risk in this fight. Massive risk of all those things that he wants. The WBC title, waiting for Wilder or Fury, the potential of a Joshua fight down the line. He has got so much on the line. And Povetkin's got the last opportunity. He's going to get a world title level, to get into that position again. So it's all on the line. And I do applaud Dillian for taking this fight, because it is such a risk. So he's got to put it all on the line. And I think he's going to get the knockout. I've just got a feeling he's going to get the knockout of Sasha Povetkin if he can get through 3 or 4 rounds. Do you see it like that?
I could see a potential late stoppage for Dillian, but I think he might have to come through some hairy moments as well during the fight. I think we can all see that. Povetkin's as seasoned and experienced as anyone as a heavyweight, and that was a while ago now it seems, but a couple of years ago he did give Anthony Joshua moments as well. So
definitely, first 3 rounds he was troublesome, but I think there's a couple of things that worry me about Dillian. I wanted him to stay with Mark Tibbs. I thought it was good for him. They've got their own reasons for wanting to change trainers, but Dave Colwell's a good advisor. Obviously, he's been brought into the camp, but I think Dillian's danger is early in this fight, you know. But I would say it's just amazing to be back at a fight event. It's a weird setup where, you know, the security actually stops us from going out of this hotel, and we're in half of a hotel with half of it closed off, and like the main section of the hotel is the normal public and, you know, people that use the hotel. But until I actually got in here and had to stay in the room all those hours while you kind of get your COVID test and everything, I'd forgotten how much energy you get from being around the fighters and the event, because it's been a weird 5 months. However you look at it, you and I have chatted 2 or 3 times, you know, on Zoom. But, you know, it's nice to be back and involved in the industry, right inside the industry, because it gives you greater energy, it gives you more insight. You get a feel for how everyone is, you know, and it gets your nerves up, you know. It's great to be here.
Eddie Hearn has made a suggestion, I'm sure he said it to you in your interviews with him as well, that if Tyson Fury is looking for a fight this year, and it's all dependent what happens Saturday, we know that, but assuming that Dillian does come through that fight, why not Tyson Fury fight Dillian Whyte at the end of this year if the Wilder fight is not going to happen? What do you think about that?
Well, I think it works for Eddie and it works for Dillian. Whether Frank Warren and Bob Arum and Tyson Fury's management team will all agree with that is another matter. But I reckon if Wilder can't get over here, and obviously you can get here from America, and I think more and more, I think, given the way America is, Bob Arum will want Wilder Fury in Vegas, even if it has to be behind closed doors. But I think it's a great fight, and I think it's one that would sell. It's just whether the other side are acceptable to it, you know? Because it could be a massive chess match in terms of, you know, breaking down Fury with Whyte before he fights Anthony Joshua. I mean, it's a brilliant precursor to that. But I think Dillian is a dangerous fighter for Tyson Fury. I would favour Tyson Fury on paper, his skill set. But I think Dillian, you know, he's put all that stuff out about the footage of them sparring and all of that. It's a long time ago. But it's definitely one of those top level fights. And if Dillian looks fantastic against Povetkin, I wouldn't be so sure that they would take that fight, you know, because I think Fury has got Wilder's number, and I see him winning that trilogy fight. I think he's in Wilder's head. When you look at it, he's beaten him twice, really. You know, the draw, I don't agree with the draw of the first fight. But it's an interesting proposition. The thing is, we're in a situation at the moment where anything could happen. And that's why they're putting all those options out there. Because people have a hunger for big fights. Because boxing's back, but it's not really fully back until we have the crowds. And it's a major issue.
Dillian seems to think that Fury will vacate the belt rather than fight him. It's a bit of a strange situation because he asked me about it. He said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I can't see a fight with you and Tyson Fury happening next, but I also can't see Tyson Fury vacating the WBC title. So something's got to give there. I mean, what do you think will happen? How will that play out?"
Well, you think Fury vacates the WBC belt if the Wilder fight is delayed?
If Fury has to fight Dillian Whyte, if Dillian Whyte
by February 2021.
So that's mandated. That's Fury or Wilder have to fight Dillian Whyte. But Dillian Whyte seems to think that Fury will vacate the title then, as opposed to fight him. I can't see him vacating the title.
No, I can't. But I also think the WBC will give them another extension. I think they'll give him another. If they don't fight till December, how can you make him fight again in February? That's not going to happen.
No, I think we all know it's not going to happen in February, but that was the original date before COVID, February 2021. So I think nothing's been changed from that. But we can't, you're right, if they're fighting in December, there's no way
it's going to be a spring fight at the very earliest.
April, May kind of
and then AJ fights in the summer, and then if the winner of Fury and Whyte presumably would fight AJ late in the summer, then September, October time, because you could still do it outdoors here, or you go wherever abroad. But that's the problem. No one really knows at the moment, And there's been so much speculation in the last 3 or 4 months that you can't nail down what route it will go. So there's a lot dependent on Saturday night on how this goes. I mean, Fury isn't going to fight Povetkin, is he?
No.
But no one wants to see that fight.
No, but if Povetkin wins, does he become mandatory?
Of course he does.
So, I don't know. Like I said, because I don't see a situation where Fury would let go of his belt, but then, I don't know.
What would we rather see? The Fury Wilder trilogy fight or Fury and Whyte? It's getting towards Fury and Whyte.
I would rather see Fury and Whyte.
The British public would rather see that. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Overall, the fight we want to see is obviously the AJ Fury fight, but that seems to be something that we know is going to happen next year. But there's a lot to play before that even happens.
Yeah. Well, I pushed Eddie on that today, and I said, surely, for the betterment of boxing and for the history of British boxing, it's better if both of them vacate the belts and just fight. Have 2 fights. He said it's possible, but I can't see them doing it. AJ doesn't want to vacate the belts that he's earned over all that period of time, and he's won back against Andy Ruiz.
The WBO situation with Usyk as well.
Yeah, well, throw that in the mix. It's just very
true,
complicated.
That's another hurdle as well.
Yeah, but you can't put. Weirdly, 2.5 years ago or 2 years ago, we were talking about Wilder and AJ all year, and it never happened.
I still want to see that fight.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure you would as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Saturday should be interesting.
Thought you'd run out of questions then.
No, absolutely not. Never with you, Gareth. Saturday should be interesting. Obviously, it was announced recently that Joshua will be in his zone, shall we say. I don't think we can go near him because he wouldn't have been kind of tested the way we have. So, I mean, interesting comments between the pair of them. Joshua saying that he might get in the ring and.
Well, he can't.
He can't.
He can shout from over on the dais.
He's just provoking a reaction from Dillian Whyte, who said, if he does come into the ring, watch what happens, that kind of attitude. So I'm expecting something to happen. I mean, even if it's from a distance.
Oh, no, it'll happen from a distance. Don't you remember their last contretemps?
Yeah.
At the O2 Arena, where Dillian really got the better of AJ and he was annoyed that night. Do you remember? It was after one of the Chisora fights, I think.
Where Joshua was commentating.
Yeah.
It was the second Chisora fight.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of beef there, and I'll be honest with you, I'm looking forward to their second fight, when and if it happens.
But, I mean, the other situation, obviously, Eddie was talking about this week was if Fury does vacate, technically Dillian Whyte would get elevated to full champion status because of his interim status, which then makes the unification fight, the undisputed fight, between Dillian and Joshua. So, I mean, like I said, there's so many different avenues.
But then there would still be loads of questions about, is Fury better than both of them? And a lot of people would still say he's better than both of those guys. So,
but Hearns just says Joshua just wants the belts. He wants to be undisputed, whether that's Fury. We know he wants to fight Fury or Whyte, whoever. He just wants to be undisputed.
Yeah.
Ahead of like a Fury fight or whatever, which is interesting to think, because I always thought he just wants to fight Fury, belts or not, he just wants to fight Fury. Eddie says the other thing.
Yeah, but it still makes it interesting if he has all the belts, if he beats Dillian the second time, and because it just leaves it open again for a fight with Fury, or maybe even 2 fights. But the problem is with these guys, no, it's not a problem, but they fight twice a year. And we've talked about 5 or 6 fights there. And that takes 3 years to happen, remember? So,
or a year like this year where they fight once.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if Fury fights by December,
Fury's the only heavyweight that would have fought twice, actually.
Yeah. Or Dillian will fight again this year as well.
Will he? If he beats Povetkin, are they going to risk that? I mean,
I get the feeling with him that he would take another fight with someone. If Eddie needed to do another pay-per-view event, look at the risk he's taking with this.
Yeah.
He could be sitting out now waiting for the winner of Wilder and Fury. But again, like you say, it would have left him out. Could have left him out for 15 months. They've got to earn money, they've got to be active, they've got to keep their momentum up, These are strange times, brother.
There's so much to happen. But the first part of this jigsaw is Saturday night. He has to win.
Yeah, and I think he will. I think he's got it about him. I wouldn't have liked him against Povetkin 2 years ago, but the 2 victories against Chisora, the win against Oscar Rivas, particularly the fight with Joseph Parker, I think he really showed some serious cojones and showed how he could go to the well. The brilliant demolition of Lucas Brown, which maybe you might have expected. It's been a really good run for Dillian Whyte, and he's also, because of his situation, where he's waited nearly 1,000 days to fight for the WBC title, has won him the fans on his side. You know, he's become a genuine star with the fans. You know, and he's got something about him. His story's out there. He's matured as a man. You know, he talks like a father now. And, you know, he's not expending that emotional energy in fight week. I think it was sensible to put him outside. You know, he'd have been eyeballing Povetkin anyway, you know. I mean, the Russians don't say much. They're in their kind of, you know, robber clobber, as someone...
Gentlemen acquire attire. Have you seen the film The Gentleman?
No.
Well, they're dressed in similar tracksuits to what Team Povetkin...
I mean, horrible. I mean, almost as bad as the tracksuit you're wearing tonight. You know?
What's wrong with this one?
What a maroon Nike, you know,
It's like-
and like really weird, trendy, studded slippers.
My at-home clothes.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. You're in your pyjamas, Gareth.
I told you not to say. I'm in my pyjama bottoms. Yeah.
No one can see. I could be lying.
It's after midnight.
Thank you.
I nipped out to get a bottle of water, and I got caught in the corridor by you and ambushed for an interview.
True.
You
Very
know,
true.
which is with the diary room next door to us here.
And that show we can't go in there, but it is
I know, it's too dark. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Wouldn't be right at this time of night.
Possibly not. What do we make of the fact that Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren are now on some sort of talking terms?
I think that's good for
Bit of a
boxing.
breakthrough?
Yeah, it's a real good breakthrough. Were you the one that brokered that or not?
Yes.
Yeah, you brokered that deal,
Yes.
of course.
No, I didn't broker it. I
You helped the PR with it, with Frank.
no,
you
I
put it
actually-
out there.
No, I put it out there. I didn't.
I think it was a
help
brilliant
with
PR
it.
move
That
by
was their
Frank
move.
Warren. Thought it was a brilliant PR move that week by Frank Warren. It was that he said the right things in that respect. Of the 10 fights he mentioned, I think 5 of them are doable anyway. But a few of them aren't at the moment, like Dillian against Dubois, Chisora against, who was it? Chisora. Those 2 aren't doable at the moment. They're good fights. Cannot wait for Dubois to fight Dillian, Fury, Joshua. I mean, he's definitely a coming force. But I think it's really good that they're talking, because something will come out of it, you know? And I'd rather them do that than be stonewalling each other. At least there's the prospect of deals being done, and we are in exceptional times. So, you know, there might be a couple of joint cards. I think it's brilliant.
I mean, fair play. I mean, Frank, obviously, off the back of their suggestion that they put out, which had quite a lot of interest on social media,
Yeah.
picks the phone up, leaves Eddie Hearn a voicemail, Eddie rings him back, and that's how simple it was. It's mad to think that those 2 have never actually conversed in all those years.
So over some cucumber sandwiches and a few cups of tea now, hopefully we'll get some fights made.
Here's one. Who picks up the bill for their first date? Talking about this.
You've got to be there. You've got to be there as a fly on the wall and film that, KUGAN.
See, I think Frank would.
Yeah, and I think Eddie will let him. Yeah.
I think Frank would. Frank's like a bit hosty, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
He is, isn't he? He's a bit hosty sometimes.
Yeah, he likes to schmooze in that way. Yeah.
Like, you know, invite him to one of his favourite restaurants or whatever.
But it's so, you know, it like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather met at a basketball game and the fight was made. I think people say things about each other when they're rivals and they don't meet, but then when they come together as human beings, everyone's wired for connection. And they're in the same business at the end of the day. And even though, you know, they do slag each other off, it's true. I mean, they are, like, you know, they're proper fucking rivals, you know. And, excuse my French. But there's going to be some connection there. So it's going to be fascinating, yeah. Frank picks up the bill, yeah.
If I was a betting man, I'd say Frank picks the bill up. Oh, I'm going to camp outside wherever it is, I tell you that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to Saturday. It's only Wednesday or early hours of Thursday morning now.
Yeah, it's
so
Thursday. It's definitely Thursday.
So we've got the press conference later on, and then we have the weigh-in tomorrow. So I'm expecting some sort of twist in fight camp before Saturday. I don't know. I think something will occur. I don't know what. I just have that feeling something will occur. I don't know what fighter, which fight.
Well, if the weather's better tomorrow, we're all playing cricket anyway at some point. You know.
Poor weather
You going to turn your arm over or not?
Not really. I'm Sri Lankan and I can't bowl.
Aren't you double jointed?
No.
I mean, or is that kind of a? It's true because Murali was double jointed, wasn't he?
Yeah, I'm definitely not double jointed.
You don't do the old leggies. I see Umar could bowl a little bit when he was out
Apparently
in the field
so.
the other day.
Apparently, I wasn't here when he was wowing everyone with his cricket skills, but I did hear about it.
I think he's woeing rather than wowing.
Any comments on Chris Lloyd's fantastic impersonation of you, Gareth?
I thought he meant.
You didn't really think it was good, did you?
I've seen him do better. I think he's.
Heard anyone impersonate you?
I liked his Frampton one though. I thought that was really good. You know, because he does his podcast with him, so that was really good. Chris Eubank Senior, I think you have to be careful doing that with young Frank Smith around. Obviously,
future father-in-law.
Exactly, his future father-in-law. I mean, he does a pretty good. And I won't rat on him, but he does a pretty good father-in-law impression as well. I think we all do a rather good Chris Eubank impression. You know, but impersonation is all part of the fun. But I'll be giving Lloyd a little bit of chin music once we get out on the cricket field tomorrow.
Make sure the camera's rolling.
Boom.
Gareth A. Davies, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. I'll let you get back to bed, or go to bed rather, and we'll try and catch up again in the week.
Yeah, it's always good to do an after dinner, after midnight interview with you. Thanks, Cougs.
Absolutely, it's very hot in here as well.
Very.
Thank you very much.
Be shy, 'cause life won't bring you down too far.